This is my new look for 2024. What do you think? Anyway, welcome back to 5 Things, where we look at 5 things that much maligned movies from yesteryear did actually quite well. And today we're talking about Universal's first attempt at bringing the monster movie into the 21st century, Van Helsing. For 4 years now, my friends and I have made a tradition of watching it every New Year's Eve. Please do not judge us, we are a simple people. So much so that we have now incorporated the Van Helsing drinking game into our festivities. A game I have yet to finish, let alone win. And every year, I am reminded of what a fun, imaginative and earnest action romp it really is. So basically, this video was inevitable. Inevitable. Yeah, these were a mistake. Yeah. The first Dark Universe. I can't go too hard on franchises. Neza and I recently sat down and watched Dragon Ball Superheroes, so no room to talk. Marvel inspired the newest trend of movieverses, and everyone wants a piece. But it can get a bit much. A bit overwhelming. Oh, no sequel, no! Just one really good one! Look, just accept it. You lost the best picture to Parasite. Move on with life. Oh, wait. It's gonna be a musical? Starring Lady Gaga? No! But one franchise I was excited about was the Dark Universe. The classic Universal monsters back on the big screen, and with the addition of modern attitudes, that monsters aren't as monstrous as we used to think. And Universal went all in on this franchise. They'd already got the team of actors under contract, set up press promotion, even merchandise was ready to go. They had put a lot into this plan. Now, were they being overconfident? Not necessarily so. Dark Universe actually had a huge advantage that even the Marvelverse didn't have. Where Marvel had to tactically introduce the wider public to their superheroes, the Universal monsters are ubiquitous in culture. Their designs are what codified our concepts of Dracula, Frankenstein, and the Wolfman. They've been here for almost 100 years. They're practically modern myths. It was a very strong starting off point, and it all came crashing down because of one movie. Now, I like to blame Tom Cruise for a lot of things, but I suppose this one wasn't entirely his fault. The script was all over the place that their Nick Fury was Dr. Jekyll. He's not even one of the Universal monsters! If I asked you who would be a better fit for that role, who would you say? Van Helsing. It's obviously Van Helsing, you would say Van Helsing. And we already got a glimpse of this in this film. Van Helsing getting together a ragtag team of humans and monsters so they can take down the real evils of the world. Who knows? It was directed by Stephen Sommers. Maybe this could have led to a Van Helsing and Brendan Fraser's Mummy crossover. But we never got that. All we get is a taste of what could have been. Thanks, Tom. The Brides. Now I know what you're thinking. That they have impressive tracts of land. That is what I thought of as well. That's always sort of been their purpose ever since conception. A way to express the depravity of vampires, taking these 3 women and turning them into voluptuous monsters. The point I'm trying to make is that these are 3 background characters that I always felt had more significance. Even in the 60s Hammer horror movie Brides of Dracula, it's mostly about the Dracula standing character. They've never really been given any more focus. And yet we live in a world where there is a movie all about Victor Frankenstein and Igor. Because the world is fair! But here, they each have a distinctive look, there's a clear bond between them, and they even get to have names. Yes, they are mainly there for the eye candy aspect, but Dracula himself said that he needs his wives to be beautiful and strong. None of the Van Helsing characters are that complex, but this film gave the brides more of an identity than any other adaptation ever has. The Universal influence.
This was an attempt to bring the universal monsters into the 21st century, and that meant having to find the balance between modernising without casting away the original's charm, whilst at the same time not just pandering to the audience with hollow references, as well as adding a fresh take and the director's own imagination. And in my humble opinion, I think they threaded the needle. From the first shot of the Universal logo bursting into flames and transforming into the torch of an angry mob storming Frankenstein's castle,
to it being a period adventure to evoke that imagery more easily. And yes, the acting can be...
Do we mean so little to you?
Melodramatic. But hey, that is a classic style of the filmmaking back then, and that is what they are trying to recreate. With the visual of Dracula's castle, with its never-ending lightning storm and the preternatural makeup jobs, it all reminds you of something you've seen before. Because we know these stories. They've been with us since almost the beginning of film, and Van Helsing is a loving pastiche, whilst finding a modern spin. Van Helsing's wardrobe gets a huge upgrade.
He's no Captain Kronos. But then who is?
Rather than the Van Helsing of the 1930s film, who had so little impact on the public consciousness, you probably didn't even realise this isn't a picture of the actor from the movie, it's just a stock photo I found. Add to that the adventure horror element of the movie gave the opportunity to show off how far stunt work and special effects had progressed. I believe that is called the Transylvania Twist. Leading to a movie that still has the rotten heart of Universal monster movies beating beneath its chest.
The monster transformations. New monsters, new designs. Inspiration is one thing, but you don't want to end up with a total knockoff. In the originals, when they had to transform the actor into the creature on screen, they had to come up with these ideas as they went. There wasn't 100 years of film techniques for them to reference from. So when Drac would turn into a bat, it would look like a rubber bat on a string. Because it was a rubber bat on a string. Look, talkies were still a novelty at this point, leave them alone. You know, it's like how dated Jurassic Park looked after 20 years. Or how dated Jurassic World looked after 5. And I love the revamped look of Dracula and the Brides. These demonic, harpy-looking creatures. They look so good. Unfortunately, their transformation leaves a little to be desired. Luckily, it is more than made up for with the werewolf transformation. It starts off like your usual lycanthropic transformation. The victim can feel the change coming about, and there's nothing they can do about it. But rather than a progressional change, bit by bit, here, they just rip their skin off. Director Stephen Sommers said he wanted to show the beast living inside the man and the man living inside the beast, and whatever, I don't care. I just know this is one of the most visceral and original transformations I've ever seen. It's so gnarly, I love it! It was so good, The Quarry nicked the idea. Yeah, I see you 2K games. So gross. Frankenstein's creature.
I know. Predictable, aren't I?
I did do a video about the book and how it was translated into film over the decades, how it was lost in translation, the things that have been added and taken away. Now, Van Helsing is not an adaptation of Mary Shelley's book, and the parts that end up in the film are hardly faithful to the text. However, there are facets from the original book that do make it in. Here the creature doesn't meet the kindly old blind man, but during their isolation, they take a copy of the Bible, build their vocabulary from that, and develop a voice that is as emotive as in the book.
Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I I shall fear no evil!
They're meant to be horrifying to look at, but they have reclaimed their soul. And the design is inspired. I can definitely see the Boris Karloff influence here. The broad frame, the square shape of the skull, the heavy set boots. Created with corpses held together with only brackets and braces. I personally think it is beautiful. And then at the end, the creature is last seen floating away to the open ocean on a raft. Sure, it's not an ice sheet, but that's a bit like how it ends in the book. When Van Helsing was released, there was also a video game, which I would love to get my claws on. The idea of a sequel was already being floated around, and a TV series based on this movie was already in the works. There was a lot riding on this movie, but alas, it was not meant to be. They do keep doing that. I guess audiences weren't ready for that kind of overlapping storytelling, at least not yet anyway, which in a way makes Van Helsing kind of before its time. I could definitely see it doing well now with audiences nowadays. But in the world of gods and monsters, you should never say the word die. We know from the movies, you can never keep a good ghoul down. But until then, I shall return to my crypt and take these flipping fangs out. Oh my god, this was a mistake. Oh, I am never doing a video with fangs in again, ever. No.